And welcome to This Is Why We Fight. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jordan. Hope you're all well.
Hope everyone's had a good week. Hope everyone is safe and well. Reboot needed. I'm liking the new background. Don't start him off, please.
I love the background. It's so good.
Go on, mention it. I'll let you have one mention. Do it.
No.
Now.
I'm going to mention it slightly later on.
Okay. Yes, we hope everyone is fine and well this fine Friday. We have a lot to talk about. It's been a crazy week. So much going on. There's so much to produce commentary about now because Clown World is truly here. Things are getting so absurd that pointing out the obvious to people now is just a joke in itself. What do you think?
Do you mean absurd? Like, I don't know, the government saying they're going to send letters to people they don't know where they are or whom they don't know where they are? Do you mean sort of crazy?
Do you mean undocumented migrants who, luckily, managed to keep their HGV licenses handy?
Yeah, remarkable. You know, there you are, you're escaping some evil, horrific dictator, but don't worry. The HGV license, that can definitely come with me.
It's a good job they thought about this important stuff. We'll go to the UK, we'll break into their country, we'll arrive on a dinghy, we'll lie about our age and who we are and where we've come from, but we'll keep those HGV licenses handy, just in case, even though we're not allowed to work, we can find a job. Brilliant. And the government, who claim they don't know who's in our country or how many, have somehow managed to find the magic button that tells them where all of these people live. It's just wonderful. If anyone wants to read that story, here it is on our website, on our timeline.
Thank you very much. I couldn't post it for some reason. I'm not logged into the chat thing.
That's truly amazing. That is truly, truly amazing. Absurdities everywhere.
People can read the article for my opinion on it, but it really is the most mind-boggling thing I have ever read. Undocumented migrants are going to be sent letters. You couldn't make that up if you tried. That sounds like a comedy sketch. It sounds like something out of bloody what's it called? Yes Minister.
I was going to say, you need to give me a clue there.
Yeah, it sounds like something out of Yes Minister.
Well, it's not even that they're going to be sent letters. They've written to them.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. These people can't be made up.
I had a funny suggestion. I'm sorry, I really want to button with this, talking about undocumented migrants. I had a funny suggestion earlier. I was having a chat with a few people. I found a way to stop the migrants, to stop the dinghy people. Does anyone want to hear my suggestion?
Yes, please. Always.
It's a really good suggestion.
It's my favourite suggestion. Okay. I don't even know what it is.
I want a 1 in the chat, please, for everyone who wants to hear my foolproof suggestion, my cunning plan to stop the dinghy people invading our shores. Now, a little caveat, just for a bit of background, we are living under tyranny, right? But these people think we're free. So here's my suggestion. If you want to get involved in some activism that's actually going to produce results, all we need to do is stand at the beach, all of us, various beaches along the coast, hold up a banner that says, "Help us." Not one of them will land. They'll all turn around and they'll all think, well, hang on a minute, I was free before. I'm not going there. That's all you've got to do. Just hold up a banner that says, "Help us."
I like Adam's take, to be honest. I think that is by far the most accurate solution to this problem.
Is Adam referring to migrants or dinghies? Although either
Both.
or.
Maybe.
But yeah, there you go. There you go. So there's my great suggestion. So if you've got a bit of spare sheeting and some paint and you happen to live on the coast, do give it a try, do film it, and do let us know the results, please. If you turn around one dinghy, that's a good day's work. That really is. There you go. I thought I'd share that with you. Just a random thought I had. Right, back to serious business. Except we're not being that serious tonight. Okay.
Semi-serious business. I hope people are paying a lot of attention to this. It is super interesting. It is the timeline that we're building up, and it is slowly being fleshed out. I've spent a number of days going back in time, so I haven't been doing too much this week, as you can tell. There's only a handful of entries, but it's slowly getting fleshed out.
You removed that so quickly. I was just going to say, if anyone in the audience can help us with this, please. That timeline is literally about 5% done.
No, it's not even 5% done.
Because we should have done this a year and a half ago. If anyone has clips saved to their Telegram or various other platforms they're on, of media, yeah, I know, I never advocate for this, but media stories relating to things like, when mandates were introduced, or you remember the good old days when the government downgraded COVID, just things like that, things that have actually been in the news that are being reported as truth, government legislation, government announcements. If anyone has any of this stuff saved with a date, we would very much appreciate you sending it across to us. Mm-hmm. Because this timeline is a tool, an effective tool to show people everything that's happened that you can see at a glance. If that doesn't wake people up, nothing will. So yes, if you have any of those things, if you've made a video about them yourself, if you've got a folder and you've kept these important dates to show that slow tyranny over time, we'd very much appreciate your help. We have to physically now go back and find each and every important date, important notice, and incorporate them into that timeline. So yes, please help us so that we can use it, so that you can show it to people. Indeed, like a pandemic scrapbook. Thank you, Will. A scrapbook of events.
I like that term, scrapbook, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, if you have any of that information, if you've ever noted it down or kept any records, then we need your help. Mm-hmm. No, it was never reported, but someone brought it to our attention and it was on the government website. And we know that there are screenshots and various things floating around from the time. I'm
not sure why I haven't added that in.
I don't know why.
But yes, I'll find it right now.
But yes, that's the thing is resisting the lies, and thank you for that. People have short memories, and I'm including everyone in that. Everyone. Mm-hmm. Because they rely on the fact that we look at all of these incidents as standalone incidents. We don't look at them in the context of the larger picture. So you can't see things like rights being eroded, or you can't see the ridiculous absurdities of their U-turns and backtracks and one lie after another. But having it all in that timeline, it's all there for you to see at a glance. So it's really important that we do this. Oh, a very good view has said, thank you for this, by the way. It's still there, just buried within the document under the heading C19. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So they're not even bothering to hide it. So, it's amazing that people still don't know this information. But I guess until you know where it is and what to look for, you're never going to search for it. That, again, is the point of the timeline. You don't need to go and search for it. We've done that for you, or with your help. We've done it collectively. It's all there for you. So thank you so much. You are Philip. Good evening, Philip. My step does not mean says it's a manipulation montage. Oh, I like that.
See, we should have come... Andrew's comment. So we should have come to you guys for the name of it, not just timeline.
Exactly. We actually do need more people to get involved. There's so much work behind the scenes like you wouldn't believe. So if anyone does want to get involved, write in articles or anything. I know we've said this before, but we do desperately need help. There's so much to do and too few of us doing it. Oh, you're not
C19 is the classical variant of E19, or whatever they were called. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember.
Speaking of E numbers, I wanted to ask the chat something before we get on with the content for tonight. This E10 petrol.
It was E17. God damn it! Sorry.
I've been. Oh, they were rubbish. I've been talking to a lot of people driving around using this E10 petrol, and they're saying that it is rubbish. They're saying it's rubbish. There are still garages selling the old E5, and I don't know what the other one's called, but it's 97%. Anyway, there are garages like Texaco and BP that still do super unleaded.
The 97%, I believe, used to be known as premium, but I think they've done away with that in my local ones.
Yes. Oh, and Hasdak has confirmed. 19th of March, that was. And then days later, lockdown.
I think it was 4 days later, wasn't it? I'll have to go back and have a look.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember exactly. I do remember it was just days, max a week. So yes, it was downgraded from highly infectious just before the nationwide lockdown, or lock-up, if you prefer. Alexander is asking, what is our survival plan? Well, it's manyfold, not to be confused with manifold. There are many aspects of it. There is not one easy answer. It's a lot of things that we need to do. We are going to get onto it.
We have the beginnings of it. I'm just trying to find it right now on resources, I believe it is. Yeah, here it is. I knew I'd get that eventually. There you go. This is the beginning of our plan. This was the first iteration of it. We will be updating it shortly. But that is the community restoration plan.
So we basically started off with this idea of a neighbourhood watch scheme, only, minus the plod, because they've turned into tyrants. And it was basically the start of this sort of community coming together, working together for a common cause being everyone in that community is equally provided for and protected. Obviously, now we wrote this a year and a half ago now. A hell of a lot has changed, hence the update. It's not that we think anything in that original plan is wrong. It's just it's missing too much information now. So,
yeah, thoughts change as time goes on.
And our situation
it's not just thoughts
changed.
change, but you also refine ideas.
Yes, of course you do. So, yeah. So it needs an update insofar as it needs more information adding to it. And we're trying to get a bit more detailed with the information, and we're trying to break it down into pretty much easy to follow steps. And this won't work for everyone in the order that we present it. It's just a guide. At the end of the day, you will do what you can do, what you're able to, what you're willing to, what your situation allows you to. It still would be nice to have it all down in black and white in one place. Something we can refer to. So that's the original guide. But as you can see, it's fairly basic, and so much has happened since then. Things that, without our crystal ball working, we didn't know to add. So we will get there. So we've had loads of latecomers in. Good evening to you all. Not too late. We haven't really started yet. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yes, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That's another one.
It's super flat now.
English Will is asking, Jordan, did you draw this?
If only. I'm not that good of an artist. And you know that. You've seen me try that bloody drawing game, the name of which I can't remember suddenly. Scribble, that was it.
That game was so good. Thank
you
for that, English Will. Yeah, you only won because you are a terrible artist and no one could guess your words.
Exactly. Well, just getting back to some of the work we've done previously, I'm just going to post the food security because it's kind of relevant. At the time, people may remember we said, you never know what's going to happen. You may break your leg one day and be unable to shops in any convenient fashion. Well, it just so happens that a very, very good friend of mine broke her leg. And she broke her leg, and she is lucky in that her housemates are able to go out and get shopping for her. But she's learned a valuable lesson in if it wasn't for them, she would really be struggling right now in terms of food because she didn't have all that much in the house.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, when the lockdowns first occurred, all you saw was story after story of communities coming together and helping each other, and it seems to have faded away. I think it's faded away for two reasons, and the first reason mainly is because we have been taught to be so individualistic. Once you can get about again, once you can get back to your normal slave-like routine, all that community stuff goes out the window. Because it's inculcated into us. I'm not blaming anyone for this. We've all been brainwashed into thinking this way. You look after me and mine, and then everyone else after. The second reason, I think, is because the demoralization was so severe that people who had the very best of intentions just couldn't quite find the energy or the motivation to carry them through. We understand that the last year and a half has been absolute overload. It's a lot. We have, as Will said, well, first of all, before I jump to Will, Ian says, I have time for research and digging. I've been watching the figures from the start and know a lot about the fear map and regional anomalies. Brilliant, Ian. Please get in touch with us. Jordan, do you want to drop the link to the Telegram, please? Ian, are you on our Discord? I know you were. Are you still there?
Still there.
Perfect. Yeah, if you can drop in the Telegram link as well. Ian, we're so very grateful for anything you can contribute. Thank you. And then jumping on to Will's comment, we've learned a hell of a lot this year. Our enemies are as strong as ever, but we are at least a bit wiser. Yes, we are. We don't have to have all of the answers or have to have the end goal in sight to start jumping on the ladder and working step by step. We know what our vision is for the future. We know that we want safe communities. We know that we want to raise our children without fear of being stabbed or raped or murdered or shot. We know that we want to be free to go about our business. We don't want to harm anyone. We don't want to be free to harm other people or to be mean or bully other people or any of those horrible things that you just don't do in polite society. But we do want to be free to make our own choices, to decide when we want to open our shops and close them, to decide how much money we earn, how much money we keep, how safe we are, what kind of people we want to live with. Do these people have the same standards as us? We want the right to decide to choose who our neighbours are going to be. We don't have those choices right now for various reasons. But the main choice of deciding where you go, when you go and how long you stay has been taken from us. And I hear lots of people shouting about this and saying, no, but these people aren't coming together. They aren't working together to act on solutions. Discussing solutions, we can do that till the cows come home. But if we don't act on them, nothing will change. Right, Jordan, I'm going to pass it back over to you. Will I quickly jump back in the chat and just have a look at the comments?
Well, you have a request coming up. I wanted Will's comment.
Hang on.
I'm going to have to go off of memory. Right, I'm going to have to go off of memory. It's okay. Will said about us being a little bit wiser.
Yes.
And it comes back to what we just said about the community restoration guide. We see it a lot with things like the Rebels on the Round, bandstands in the park, and all of that. Just in general, people protesting. There doesn't seem to be very much proper thought in these things.
Sorry, this is the comment you meant. When you said Will, I thought you meant the one I just came off of.
I did actually mean Will's comment.
Right.
As well as English Will. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be much genuine reflection in a lot of these things. And that is something that we have, or I at the very least, have really tried to do on a personal level. And I know Andrew has tried as well, and he's doing bloody well at it. There's a lot of really, really enthusiastic people going to these things, but then from what we've seen and what we've heard, people tend to filter out because they become a bit demoralised because it isn't working. But then there's no proper thought into why it isn't working.
It's like they get there, and then so you create these groups, you create all this buzz around this thing, and everyone turns up, and it's like, okay, what now?
Exactly.
And the what now is the thing that needs to be dealt with, because activism in and of itself can be useful. Said this before, can be useful. In most cases, it's not. Honestly, I do believe that it's just shouting into the wilderness. The people that you're trying to sway are the people who have created the problems in the first place. They don't care.
It's like asking a bully to stop hitting you.
Yeah, they just don't care. It
doesn't work.
But it can be cathartic. You know, you're getting out of your system. You're meeting like-minded people. I've always said it's useful for networking, and I still believe that to be the case.
Definitely.
But once you've networked, what then? Well, what then? You need a goal. You need a long-term goal. We have that long-term goal. But just because that goal isn't going to happen in the next 2 weeks doesn't mean you don't keep working towards it. That said, you must have the goal there. You must know what you're working towards. Otherwise, it's chaos. And not in a good way. It's absolute chaos. There's no plan, there's no organization. You need to know what you're working towards. We all do. And that's why we've talked so much about the future. We've talked about the kind of community we'd like to have, the kind of life we'd like to live, the kind of people we'd like our children to be raised around, the kind of schools we'd like, the kind of art we want our children to be exposed to. These are important things. These are all important. We have to name the solution. Naming the problem usually helps to start resolving the problem. Or by the same token, naming the solution gives you a visual of that solution and it keeps you motivated. Right, I'm going to do this real quick. Green Dragon, especially for you. Hello! There you go. I'm so sorry you missed it. No worries, Ian. As long as you are safe and well, then we're so glad you're back.
Very much so.
Right, okay. Let me just catch up with the chat. Arius, we're basically just starting now, so you haven't actually missed much. Reaching new people early is valuable. You want to get to them before they get burned by some fools or scammers. Well, this is another thing. A lot of people, I don't think everyone's a scammer. Some people just don't have this idea of the end goal. They just kind of rush into something and they don't really know what to do next. But there are people out there who are tired of struggling, tired of having nothing, and they see you as an easy mark. You don't want to be seen that way. You don't want to be labelled a victim before you even speak to someone. We've got to get back to this part where we used to look out for one another instead of seeing what we can get from one another. You get out of something what you give to it. Always believe
When do you
that.
think society became that way? About what you can get out of each other instead of what you can do for each other?
When we were crushed under the boot hill of tyrannical poverty, of medical tyranny, of taxes, of working so hard that you're exhausted. You fall into bed every night exhausted. And you know that most of the money you've earned is never going to go into your household or your pocket. That nobody seems to appreciate what you do. There's so many things that society treats you like some kind of leper because you have standards and you reject perversion. And there's so many things. I think people don't feel appreciated, and that's the first goal. Is to start making people feel appreciated, to feel that your hard work is appreciated, to feel that there is a reason for you to do the things you do, and that there's a benefit. And a lot of people right now are working for no benefit. Or rather, they get a tiny bit of benefit, but somebody else is getting most of it. And that person certainly doesn't appreciate you.
Well, you get benefit, but then the small amount of good that comes from it is at an enormous expense.
Yes.
And it's like one of those things. Yeah, it would be great to earn an extra £1,000 a month, let's say, but the flip side of making an extra £1,000 a month will be cutting out £1,000 a month. If you're spending £1,000 a month on complete and utter useless nonsense, it's easy to cut it out. You're in as good a position as if you worked extra hours. And
Well,
I'm just throwing weird random numbers out there, by the way.
Well, this is the thing. Let's say you earn £1,000 a month. You have children, and let's say you're a single parent. You have children. You're earning £1,000 a month. £1,000. It's a lot of money. On its own, it's a lot of money. Out of that money, you're now paying for childcare. So you're paying someone else to do the job you don't have time to do. You are paying for, all of the bills, all of the rent, all the interest on your mortgage. All of these arbitrary payments that you make also include taxes and interest, which should be illegal, in my opinion. Well, they shouldn't exist. Not illegal. That's the system. They shouldn't exist. Shouldn't exist. You should be working to benefit you and your family. You're basically working a job and paying other people to do all the things you can't do because you don't have time. And you are paying for the privilege of having someone else raise your child, someone else educate your child, someone else produce, provide, pack, and deliver the food that you could be at home producing yourself, someone else producing, packing, and delivering the furniture that you don't have time to make. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If nobody worked and everyone stayed at home and did all these things themselves, and they were able to find ways of fueling their house, powering their house, making their own furniture, growing their own food, raising their own children, first of all, your children would be helping you around the house and around the land or the farm or whatever it is you're doing, and you would be better off. You'd be happier. Your children would be safe. Yeah, you wouldn't have money coming in, but you know what? We've been tricked into thinking we need money to exist. We don't. We just haven't for decades built things that would replace it. We've stopped building things that replace it. We've gotten too used to the convenience of buying the things we need instead of making them.
Mm-hmm.
Of the convenience of hiring someone to fix something instead of learning how to fix it yourself. It's a lot for someone to just change all this overnight, but we can start. We can start with the things that we can manage.
Yeah, the reason I brought up the self-reflection thing earlier on is because we've been doing that, and in the process of doing that, we rewrote our about page, which I posted earlier on.
Yes.
We came up to the security section, and first off, amazingly, I managed to find that Joe didn't edit, which is absolutely an achievement beyond words for me, because I am not a good writer, and Joe likes to pick everything apart and make it better, and she just couldn't for once. But what we ended up saying was, security, the right to live unmolested by people who seek to coerce or infringe upon your rights. Every wrong boils down to theft of property, choice, or life itself. We have the right to secure ourselves against anybody who tries to infringe upon our rights or anyone who enables such actions.
Exactly. These are immutable rights. We are all born this way. We are all born this way, and these rights are stripped away from us one bit at a time. And by the time you reach adulthood, you have no rights. You have the right to get into debt. You are vastly encouraged to get into debt in order to do what? To get a piece of paper that says you are capable of doing something, but only in theory, because you haven't actually done any practical work or learned a trade. How many people with those pieces of paper are now flipping burgers at McDonald's?
I think most of them will be grateful for burgers. I was somewhere last weekend around these students of a very, very famous university, and I saw the most baffling thing from what I can only hope is not a medical student. This woman, probably about 19, maybe 20, very expensive university, probably been in private education all her life, intellectually very, very sharp. She dropped her mask on the floor, picked it up and put it on. These people, they may be intelligent, but they are not, or they may be intellectual rather, but they are not intelligent. They are dense.
Book smart, but
exactly.
they have no street smarts, no common sense.
Exactly, and this is the sort of thing we're paying for, because for some reason we have been convinced into believing that this is what is best. Going along and getting a little piece of paper saying we're intelligent, meanwhile looking down their nose at people who actually do something useful, for example, like gas fitters and sparkies and various other things like that.
People who actually keep the country running.
Exactly. People who actually produce something, which gets me back to another point. Something that genuinely annoys me. Everyone should do this. Go on to Indeed and look at jobs in your local area, and then work out how many of them are actual jobs where they are actually producing something, as opposed to jobs where they are just admin. They're moving numbers from one computer onto another. They're in call centers, or they're just working complete and utter non-jobs, such as health and safety people. Right?
Health and safety should be outlawed. We know.
So the majority of the economy is based around these absolute non-jobs or absolutely soul-destroying jobs that no one should be made to do.
On that note, Aria says, when is tax-free day? You work the first 6 months of the year and hand it all over to the government before you start working for yourself. That's essentially what people are doing. This tax code nonsense, another scam. You can earn so much money before you pay tax, and then boy, do they hit you with it.
Oh, don't they just?
But while you can earn all that money without paying tax, you've got council tax, you've got property tax, you've got car tax, you've got tax on your water rates, you've got tax on your fuel bills. Tax-free. Come on.
Well, you were talking about the Beatles song earlier on.
Yes.
Taxman. They tax you to walk and they tax your feet or whatever it was.
Bring up the lyrics. Honestly,
Oh, okay,
it's important. Good evening. Evidence violates community guidelines. He's saying hello to me and Jordan and chat.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Kev. Right, I'm going to go through some of the people that have turned up now. It's really difficult to kind of interrupt a flow, so I do apologise if I've missed anyone. You're all welcome and all very much a part of this community. One Easy Money says, start with removing the central banks and the United Nations Charter. Tell them to pound sand. My goodness, let me try again.
Don't take my. I'm the one who can't speak coherently.
Just call me Stuttering Joe. Okay, stop. Oh God, that's Joe Biden. No, don't call me that, please, for God's sake. Start with removing the central banks and the United Nations Charter. Tell them to pound sand. We don't own you nothing. And go back to... I hope you finish that sentence.
The hell from which you came is where I hope it ends.
I'm so...
Work faster, Stutter Joe. Come on.
That's all I've got. I'm waiting for the second part, and if I've missed it, apologies. Sir Francis, good evening, Sir Francis says, the globalists serve the enemy. I can't speak again. The globalists serve the enemy of mankind. They want us demoralised, miserable, and ultimately gone altogether. Oh, Ian Marr. I know someone who'd be very, very interested. Very, very, very interested. I don't know if Boudica's here, but she is desperate to get her hands on a knitting machine. She is like a dynamo. She just needs something to speed things up. Her brain works faster than her fingers can. Let's get this up on the screen because I want to show you the lyrics from this. Now, whatever you feel about the Beatles, bear in mind the time that this was written. This has been going on forever. So I'll read out the lyrics for anyone who's watching on a device and can't see this. Let me tell you how it will be. There's 1 for you, 19 for me. Because I'm the tax man. Yes, I'm the tax man. Should 5% appear too small, be thankful I don't take it all. Because I'm the tax man, I'm the tax man. I'll tax the street. If you try to sit, I'll tax your seat. If you get too cold, I'll tax the heat. If you take a walk, I'll tax your feet. Don't ask me what I want it for if you don't want to pay some more, because I am the tax man. Now, my advice for those who die, declare the pennies on your eyes, because I'm the tax man. Yeah, I'm the tax man, and you're working for no one but me. That was written in 1960 what? Does it give you a date? I'm
going to guess 67. Does it tell me? Does it tell me? Does it tell me? No, it doesn't.
Anyway.
66.
The point is, everyone has known about this tax scam forever. It's interesting that no one with the influence of people like that have ever done anything about it. But, yeah, it's amazing. But, yeah, thank you very much for that, Ian. We definitely will take that off your hands. I don't know if you want to get in contact with one of us or try and contact Boudica directly. If you get on the Telegram, we can put you in touch with her. Thank you so much. Although Philomena might want it. Oh, you ladies can fight over it, actually.
Fine.
Right. This is the second part. Thank you, One Easy Money. I was waiting for this. Or you can go back to printing your own country's money and go on a gold standard and go back to common law principles and be accountable. Well said. Took us a while to get there, but I knew what you were heading towards. I just wanted to get it up on the screen. Aria says, I know a lot of intelligent idiots. I used to work for some. I think we all have done that at some time. Will says the tech workers who get $300,000 a year to censor us are the most despicable parasites. Yes, they are.
Yep.
They're good at passing exams, Reboot Leader said. Doesn't mean they're intelligent. Well, this is the thing, yes. All they've done is basically achieve the amazing goal of being able to parrot information, and then someone gives them a certificate that says, you're super smart, now go out and flip burgers. And they're like, yay, I'm super smart. Don't you uneducated people even dare compare yourself to me. I'm super smart. And you know why? Because somebody gave me a piece of paper that said so. That's literally what's happening. Do not send your children to university. What an absolute waste of time and money. Jonathan says, Jordan, that sounds amazingly very like UTC. Going back to the mask.
I would say the UTC thing just sounds like the non-aggression principle, to be honest. It all boils down to the same thing, because it's just the truth.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you start really getting to the root of problems, you will always come to the same conclusion. And that actually, when you start getting to the root of problems honestly, and you start genuinely looking at how things are and working out what is true and what is not true, you can't sit there and complain. Sorry, you can't sit there and demand somebody else takes somebody else's right away because it benefits you in some capacity.
We've always said
You have to be honest about how things are working, and things are not working well at all because we are inherently an immoral society.
We are.
When most solutions to all problems are simply, let's have the government infringe upon the rights of some more people.
Well, we are fundamentally immoral because the people that are advocating for your rights to be taken have had their rights taken too. This is a, crap runs downhill scenario. Everyone's in the same boat, but some people are trying to get ahead of others. It's the bully scenario, isn't it? Kids who are bullied at home often go to school and bully other kids. Why? Because they want to take some power back. They feel powerless, and they can't take power back from the people who are bigger than them or older than them, like adults. So they take it from other children, smaller, weaker children. That's what this is now. All this virtue signaling you see, that's this. I can't take power from my equals or my betters, so let me find someone who's in a worse position than me. I'll take their power. People want to feel relevant. And you know what solves that problem? Community. If you want to feel relevant and equal and equally treated and respected, you find like-minded people and you build community with them. You all contribute, you all help each other out. You are equals. You're on an equal footing. This is nothing to do with your value in money. This is nothing to do with the money in your bank. This is to do with you, your character, and how you treat other people. That's the great equalizer. The other one, of course, is guns, but that's a whole nother conversation. That is the great equalizer. If people were judged on their importance, their influence, and their standing in society by the way they treat other people, all of these people now would disappear, and we would be running society. We've got to change the way we think about things. And we've got to stop giving respect and authority to people who do nothing to deserve it. But the tax thing is an absolute scam. They tax your income. Has anyone ever received a tax rebate? And when you get your rebate,
Not in this country,
and when you get your rebate, you're taxed on it again. So this is a rebate of money you were originally taxed, and then they tax the rebate. It's truly amazing. Philomena. This is taxing. Thank you so much, Ian. Really do appreciate that. Wealthy pop stars bemoaning tax. What's new, says Kev. Yeah, this is truly amazing, isn't it? I hate to bring this up because it was so cringe at the time. Does anyone remember that god-awful Imagine video that all these so-called movie stars made at the start of the lockdown because they couldn't cope without the adulation and sitting in their mansions complaining, how are we going to cope when we can't get out to buy shop? Like, you do your own shopping. Come on.
It's like Will Smith telling people to stay in their homes, and then you look at Will Smith's house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, damn, boy, that is an enormous house. That is basically a castle in and of itself. Yeah. Well, what was the size of that thing? Didn't it work out to be multiple football pitches?
Ridiculous. Too big for one family. There's no need. My Stepdad's Not Mean says there was a guy who worked for the IRS in America who found out what the IRS was doing was illegal, and he resigned. Credit to him. Well, we often talk about the fact that taxes were introduced as a temporary measure, just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And we talk about this in Britain all the time. But the reality is, it is actually, in fact, the law in America that you cannot be taxed. They are breaking the law. That, I believe, is somewhere in your founding documents or a similar type document. But that's true. Everyone who...
If nothing else, if nothing else, something direct like an income tax, it for basic things. It is basically part-time slavery.
Yes.
If you are taxed at, let's say, 10%, that means for 10% of the time, you aren't working to benefit yourself. You're working to benefit somebody else.
Yes.
And you're working to benefit somebody else under the understanding that if you don't give them your money, you're going to be locked in a cage. That's a threat of violence. So no matter which way you want to slice and dice this, for 10% of the time, you are a slave, and for the rest of the time, you are being coerced into working that 10% of the time. And then when you take a look at somewhere like this country, where our top rate of tax at one stage was something insane, like 97%, that means for 97% of the time, you are a slave. That's not acceptable. That's not okay.
Agreed. There is no time that you should be working where you do not directly benefit from your own hard work. And let's look at where your taxes go and who they're spent on.
But the other thing about taxes, before we get onto that, they make you poorer. So you then need the services that they are graciously providing you. Yeah. Nobody needed an NHS until they decided everyone needs an NHS. At which case, very, very quickly, almost overnight, everybody really needed the NHS.
Yes.
Because you didn't have the money to pay your normal doctor, and all your normal doctors were off doing their own thing. So all the private doctors were then employed by the NHS. So they weren't interested in being paid whatever it would have been, like £5 or whatever for a diagnosis, when they were being paid £100 a day to work for the NHS, or whatever the numbers worked out to be.
Well, this is the problem. It is a circular scam. It's the same with medicine. They convince you you're sick, so you take their medicine, which makes you sick, and then you need more medicine. They convince you to pay taxes. Well, they don't convince you. They make you pay taxes to pay for services that you now have to use because you can't afford to go to pay for private services. You have to use the services because you can't afford any more to have choices. The NHS was such a good idea in theory at its inception. It could have been amazing. But it has...
Is it a good idea?
I think it was a good idea at a smaller community, local level.
So basically what you're saying is it was a good idea if it was left alone as it once was.
If it was run by the people for the people with no government interference, then yes, it was a good idea.
But so basically if it was everything that it isn't, it would have worked wonders.
Well, no, I did say in principle, having a service that you pay into that is free at point of access is a good idea.
Yeah, but as I
like
said,
a community chipping in to pay for, I don't know, seeds or something at the start of harvest, or a community chipping in to pay for a new house to be built every year so that they can invite someone else into their community if you own land. These things are not, they're not bad ideas. It's just that whenever you get a good idea like that, in theory, in principle, you've always got someone greedy who comes in and says, how can we scam people with this? How can we force people to become so poor that they have no choice but to use it? And that's where we are. And the NHS is inherently evil. You only have to go back a few months. If you just type in NHS in a search bar, you will see story after story of dead babies, of killer nurses, of this, that, and the other. Their track record is appalling. And then they're surprised that people turn on them when they start posting TikTok videos while people are unable to attend funerals or spend time with their children or their parents. They're shocked. But we're heroes, right? Not all heroes wear capes. Well, no heroes wear an NHS uniform, in my opinion. How dare they? How dare they act like they're heroes? The sheer amount of greed that's involved. The NHS is such a financial black hole now, it's ridiculous. And considering all of its private contracts, it's basically a private organisation, which begs the question, why is it taxpayer funded every year? And why is it no matter how much you invest in it, it's never enough? We got billions of pounds last year, but it's just not enough. We need more billions. And then they talk about how many staff work in the NHS. It's only 1.1 million people out of the whole entire nation. So where's all the money going? Then you read about all these, so-called watershed drugs. There's a drug for this and a drug for that, and this will save your life, and that will stop your asthma. And all of these private companies are overcharging. They're not ripping off the NHS. They're ripping off us because we are paying the bills. And how many of us are paying the bills now and cannot access the services that we pay for? Tax is a scam. Taxation is theft. Simple as that. Axiom Curb says, this is brilliant, since central banks can issue money, there really is no need to pay taxes anymore. Indeed, they could just print some more. It's what they do, right? But yeah, it's all theft. You can't choose not to pay taxes in the UK. I mean, yes, if you don't work, technically you don't pay taxes on your income, but you still pay taxes on various other things. I actually can't think of a single country where you do not pay taxes.
Well, no civilized country anyway.
Well, that's true.
When it comes to the things that you pay taxes on, just really basic things like property tax. Why on earth? Council tax is the most immoral thing imaginable. It's somehow worse than income tax. And income tax is slavery in and of itself, and it's even worse because what they're basically telling you is you do not own the land that you pay, the land that you own.
Yeah, you've paid all that money.
You have to continuously pay them what is effectively a racket. You have to continuously pay them their money in order for them to leave you alone, and if you don't, off you go in prison for years.
Yeah, what happens if you don't pay those taxes? They'll take your home, the one that you own,
Exactly.
the one that you've bought and paid for.
So much like cars, it is blatantly obvious that no, you do not even own your own home.
No.
Because they can take it away from you. If somebody can take it away from you, you don't own
So
it.
they may as well put on your home ownership documents that you are the registered keeper. It's truly a scam. It's all a scam. If anyone remembers...
But just call it what it is. We're tenants. Even if we own the property, we are tenants.
If anyone remembers, the initial incarnation of council tax was poll tax, and people rioted over this when this was first introduced. and I recall some headlines. They were locking up old people who couldn't pay their poll tax, locking them up. I thought anything to do with money would come under civil law. When did we start locking up pensioners because they can't afford to pay their bills?
When they started to breathe.
And honestly, this...
To be fair, this is basically what the Industrial Revolution was based upon. So this isn't terribly surprising. For those who are unaware, the major factor for the Industrial Revolution was we had a couple of really poor harvests in a row. And what happened was all the people out in the countryside, they weren't terribly interested in going into the city and working in factories. Surprise, surprise, who would? So the first year came around, bad harvest. Okay, they went, they took on some debt. Next year, bad harvest. It was a real bad time for them because back in those days, you were then basically a slave. And in the early days of it, they were sent off to North America. There were more white slaves in North America than there were black slaves, something that they like to ignore. And then by the time the Industrial Revolution kicks in, those people were then just sent to the mill. And that is entirely how it got the manpower. Nobody wanted to work in those places.
No, because they were awful.
We look, just issue 2 seconds of common sense. Any program that talks about the Industrial Revolution talks about the horrific conditions these people were in. Nobody wanted that. They all wanted to be back on the farm, where they always had been. Yes, fine, the country lifestyle was very difficult. It was not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. The images that people like to portray of it, of girls running barefoot through the fields, is bloody stupid and not based upon reality at all. But they would much rather have been in that position, out in the fields, working day and night, than being in the mill, because the mill, once you was in there, you had no escape. That was it for you.
It was a prison. It was.
It was a debtor's prison.
You
exactly.
could leave at the end of the day, but essentially it was a prison. If you didn't turn up,
and they've extended,
you're in trouble.
That same mentality, or the same, not mentality, I can't think of the word, but the same situation exists today, in that we are constantly in debt to the state via things like council tax. In order to pay it off, we need to get a job. As soon as you get that job, you are then unable to provide for yourself. So you need, as Joe said earlier on, you need things like childcare taken care of, but you also need things like food. If you're spending 40 hours a week working in order to pay the government off, you then need to buy some food. So now your expenses have increased.
What it is, it's
you then need
money.
to buy. Exactly. You then need to buy like a vehicle in order to drive to work. Well, that's another expense that you wouldn't have needed before. You then need some more stuff, and it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up.
Look at the vehicle.
I can't even think what you needed. It just keeps growing. Oh yeah, the vehicle itself. Like you need to buy the vehicle. You then need to put fuel in the vehicle, obviously.
And pay
fair
tax.
enough. You then need to insure the vehicle.
And pay tax.
And you need to pay tax on it.
And pay tax. Everything is taxed. Everything is a scam. Everything is a scam. Like the MOT system. It's a scam. If it wasn't a scam,
don't get me on MOT.
If it wasn't a scam, MOTs would be free, and you'd only pay for any work necessary. They're not free. It's a scam.
I was watching to show you how stupid these things are. I was watching something the other day. Oh no, more than that. Actually, it was a couple of weeks ago. It was DeBoss Garage. People may know him, and he was doing vehicle emissions testing in Alberta when they used to have it. Apparently, I can't confirm this, but apparently the test used to be they would stand in front of the exhaust at a certain distance with a white sheet of paper, turn the engine on, and then count the specs on the piece of paper. What good is that? But how is that based in reality in any way, shape, or form?
Well, obviously, you want speckless paper, then you pass the emissions test. Duh.
but 1 minute, it's there because, it's bad for the environment. Meanwhile, Bill, perfectly safe for Bill to go and stand behind the bloody exhaust, breathe it in while it kicks out its rubbish all over the piece of paper. It's perfectly fine. Good God.
Well, don't forget that.
And as Hashtag has said, 40-year-old bangers don't need an MOT. Dead on.
I can't see what Hashtag said because I've been waiting for you to give me a chance to go through some of the comments.
Go. I'm in a ranty
I will say, though, that they're more concerned with cows' mouth breathing than they are about, people sucking up exhaust fumes in their nostrils. Aria says, this is actually really good. May sound daft. No, it doesn't. But you need to stop earning money for the sake of it. Earn what you need and no more. I know that's far too simple, but I've spent the last 25 years putting myself into that position. The more you earn, the more you pay. What are you earning money for now? What are you doing overtime for? If it's to put staples on the table before you disengage from the system, fair play. If you're earning money to go on holiday, you already live in a wonderful country. Why on earth would you need to leave it? Save your money. Spend your money on the necessities of life. Take the extra time off work and start making, growing, and building the rest. It will serve you well in the future when you have to make, grow, and build everything you need. Hasdak, good on you, says, I haven't done any PAYE work since 2014. Good for you. I'm just catching it right. Jordan, you're going to have to carry on now. I'm probably about 20 minutes behind. Oh, I am nearly 10
No,
minutes
you
behind.
carry on. There was a number of good comments. You take your time.
Right. Communism has good ideas in principle. I'm guessing this was when I spoke about the NHS. Like I said,
being a good idea in
I'm
principle.
anti big government. So if anything is big government, I mean, even holding government to account, absolutely pointless. But I suppose if they say they want to reduce taxes,
So,
if you go and hold them to account just as an exercise, the question should be, why haven't you done it already?
no, the question should be, why are you pretending it's legitimate in the first place?
If they say
there is no legitimate form of government, it doesn't matter how small it is a group of people who are there specifically to restrict the rights of other people. Not legitimate. It is violence. Reject it.
you are paying people basically to go along with this do as I say, not as I do scenario. We pay their wages and they use that money to create laws for us, not for them, to create a tax system for us, not for them. How many of these MPs have been done for tax avoidance? How many celebrities have? All the money in the world and they don't want to pay taxes. They know the system is corrupt and they are also corrupt because they'll look after themselves. None of those people are banging on about poor people paying taxes. Nobody should pay taxes. It's a protection racket. Nice house you've got there. If you don't pay your taxes, I'm going to come along and take it. It's a protection racket. Nice car. Nice family.
Nice shop.
Nice shop. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't even start me on the shop, on business rates and various other things. And when you pay taxes, are you directly beneficial? Do you directly benefit from the taxes you pay? Is anyone going to use the NHS anymore? Is anyone going to call the police if something happens? If your taxes are paying for services you cannot or will not use, shouldn't you have an opt-out? I don't agree with taxes altogether. I'm just spitballing here. There's no opt-out for taxes. Why is that? They're compulsory. You don't have a choice. It's all a scam. And the best way to get out of paying taxes is to provide everything you need for yourself. If you aren't buying it, you're not paying VAT. You're making it. Of course, you're going to have to get materials in. There's no way around that. But you can cut all of the other stuff out. So Francis says, corruption is the fly in the ointment of all these grant systems. Yeah, absolutely. Always corruption. Yeah, I do. See, this is the thing. I think community healthcare is a good idea, but everyone should contribute to it on a small scale. I'm talking about within a community, within a village.
If you want a voluntary system, knock yourself out.
But it would be a voluntary system. If you don't pay in, you have to pay at the point of use. Agree. Speaking of the NHS, we came across something very interesting. There were a couple of articles that we've seen over the last week where the words universal healthcare or universal
You're
health
fascinated by this.
I am. Even though I think it's all BS, the fact is the NHS has been abused by the rest of the world forever and the British taxpayer pays for it. Again, don't agree with taxes. Or any form of coerced or forced contribution. But the fact is, anyone can now use it. Anyone can use it, but there's only one group of people forced to pay for it. Just think on that. The country, we were talking about this, Boudica, the country doctor that makes house calls with his little bag, that you can pay with pie, that you can barter a medical service in exchange for something you produce. What a good idea. The money is for the managers, says Tash. You're talking about the NHS. The amount of managers in the NHS is truly shocking. Truly shocking. Right, you clap for me now. Yeah, we don't clap for you.
Oh, the good old you clap for me days. I remember them well.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that quote. Axiom, yes, there are two promises in life, death and taxes.
You're going to take a while to get there, and Axiom's asked to get there, and so I'll get there. Axiom has said he contacted us via Facebook. That is my domain. Sorry, I don't. We were having this conversation earlier on. We've been having it on and off for months at this point. We're really bad at social media stuff. Really bad. So if you anything haven't replied, that's why. The place to grab us the most consistently would be or Discord.
Yes.
I'm
To
not
be
going to
honest,
say same minute reply on Telegram, but probably a pretty bloody fast reply.
if anyone does message us on Telegram, we get lots of these people, shilling for cryptocurrencies or some business thing. If you just say hi, probably aren't going to reply to you. If you say hi, it's so and so from the stream, or hi, I watch the streams or something, then we're going to reply to you. So just so you know. But if you join our Discord,
I almost always reply to everyone who just says hi. But why are you so anti-social?
well, because there's just factors. Just I don't know. I get loads of these comments, and I get weird people at the
Are
other
you
end.
one of those people? Are you one of those people that screen your calls as well? So that you see your phone light up and you see that someone's calling you, you sit and decide if somebody is worthy of being spoken to or not.
No, not really. I only screen my calls if my hands are wet, if I'm washing up or something. If I can answer the phone, I will.
Fair enough.
But the only people ringing me are people I either want to ring me that I've shared my number with, or people I know. So when a random stranger just says hi, who knows where that's going to end up? But yeah, we get a lot of that on Telegram. It's nothing to worry about. But again, if you can just let us know that you're from the stream, that'd be great. Okay, I'm catching up. Keep going, Jordan. You can mention a few of the comments while I'm catching up.
Oh, I've forgotten them.
We'll scroll back.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm up to the Facebook comment actually.
No, there you are. It's good timing. You should have got that quicker.
Evidence violates community guidelines says there'll now be a rubber ducky in bathtubs tax. We'll be sending someone around to survey folks about how many bath ducks they keep. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I've just put the link to the counter-economic articles into chat if anybody's interested in actual cryptocurrency news of any value. All of which is written by Andrew, has done an absolutely astounding job on it.
He has not stopped. Nothing wrong with cryptocurrencies, just when random people message me out of the blue to try and get me to sign up to something, I tend to view it with a bit of suspicion. So there you go. Okay. Right, I'm caught up. Yay! I've actually caught up with the chat. So yes, so the tax thing is an issue. There you go. Well, that's the kind of thing I get on Telegram. Yeah.
That's the thing I get on Instagram. It's really weird.
Oh, I don't do Instagram.
Do you know the only thing I have on Instagram and for friends, Metallica, like endless streams of Metallica for some unknown reason, and then guns.
Wow, that's quite the mix.
It is. It's wonderful. Oh, and some cricket stuff. Fair enough. I forgot about that.
But yeah, so all of these problems stem from the fact that we are basically working to pay taxes, which gives away quite a bit of our money. We're working to pay taxes. We are paying other people to do the things we should be at home doing ourselves. Why on earth are you paying strangers to raise your children? Why are you paying other people to produce food? You don't know what they're doing to that food. You don't know what they're putting in that food. You could be growing it yourself. This entire system is a scam. It's a racket. The only way for us to get out of this system, and just for anyone who's not familiar with the UK tax system, we have something called PAYE. Just clarify that it is pay as you earn. So there's no getting away from it. We don't get to pay our taxes at the end of the year. It's deducted at source from your income. So for the average worker, for the average employee in the UK, you receive your money minus those deductions, tax and national insurance. National insurance funds the NHS and things like GP surgeries. So it's deducted at source. You don't ever get your gross pay, you only get the net pay. Whatever's left after they've taken their slice of the pie. So unless you are
What they really
self-employed,
should have
you
called
can't change it. Sorry.
what they really should have called this was convenience theft.
Yeah.
Because it's very convenient for you. You don't have to do anything while they steal from you. They just steal from you.
And where does this money go? It goes all around the world. It pays for Pakistan's space program. It pays for people to lose weight in other countries. I mean, there are people literally in this country who are having to top up benefits on top of their wages because they don't have enough money left.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are working in this system that is designed to take you down. It's absolutely ridiculous. And these people, and it's become a point of pride now because people have just been told, oh, well, you shouldn't be claiming benefits. You can go out and work. Yes, you can go out and work, but without community, like single parent families, is the absolute bane of our society. I know not everyone is single through choice. I know not all single people are single because they just, put it about and didn't plan for the future and didn't plan for the consequences. People who are widowed with young children are in the same boat. It's terribly unfair. If we had communities, though, if we had village schools and if we had real decent people living among our children and around our children, these problems would no longer be problems. That's amazing.
Axiom has just raised a really, really good point that I did overlook. He said, with an open mind, enough of taxes talk in place. This is a really valid point because when it comes, whoa, flip heck, that was a big picture.
That was a touch too big, I feel.
That was a little bit big,
just a bit
bigger than expected. This is something else that they do all the bloody time. The inflation levels. Inflation is basically it's theft. Once again, it is theft because they give you money, or you have money, as you can see in this example. If you have like $20, and then not very far later, it's worth significantly less, and significantly less, and so on and so forth.
And who decides how much it's worth?
Well, this is because they keep printing bloody money, and they keep doing it. It isn't tied on to anything, so they can do whatever they feel like. Inflation, economies should not inflate. This is not how an economy should work. They go on about, oh, we need to hit our target of 2% inflation or 2.5% inflation, whatever they've decided it is. Complete nonsense. Economies are naturally deflationary entities. There are lots of reasons for this, but the simplest way to explain this is they will naturally deflate because as time goes on, people get better at making things. Systems become more efficient. Thereby prices drop. On top of that, technology improves. So the cost of either producing or selling an item falls once again. Economies do not inflate. This is a completely made up thing that you need in order to make Keynesian economics work. It's stupid. No other way of explaining this is just the stupidest bloody thing ever. If anyone is interested in this and listen about it, because I will just get annoyed, they need to look at who does.
Jordan,
really
you're breaking up. Jordan, you're breaking up. As you
well,
got more emotional, the internet couldn't cope. Do you want to just say that last part again? Sorry.
Where did I start breaking up from?
I don't know. I couldn't hear it. You said this was really, really stupid, and then you said something else, and then it started to robot a bit. Sorry.
Well, it's dumb. If anyone wants to really understand this more, definitely look at Austrian economics. It's very interesting. A lot of the people involved in it have really, really good personalities and are just interesting to watch and listen to and read from. I would highly recommend staying away from it because it's very dense, and I have never been able to crack that. Interesting. Just the inflation rubbish. Completely. This, what is happening with Bitcoin, why I think it is a little bit, not official, but why I think it is a little bit, because it's a scarcity, like it's new and shiny. I think that explains a fair amount of that. This is slightly natural. Well, this is significantly more natural, in my opinion, than this, because this is nonsense. Not how anything works.
So you've got the double
this is not
whammy
how
then.
a proper economy works.
So you've got the double whammy then of increased inflation, which by default raises the cost of living. You've got to remember that the big supermarkets last year made all of their profit in the first 3 months. Or so, no, that's not true. It would have been the second quarter, correct? From when the lockdown started, they started whacking on ridiculous prices for delivery on top of everything else. So you've got the increased cost of living, and look at everyone's bills that have gone up now. You've got the increased cost of living. You've got devaluing of income. You've got devaluing of money. You've got increased cost of living. You're able to buy. Your purchasing power has just dropped. I mean, you're able to buy so much less. I noticed this. I mentioned this the other day. I'm hesitant to bring up Brexit because I'm so tired of hearing it get blamed for everything. But I've noticed since Brexit, because I'm that kind of person, that everything I buy now, it's smaller packaging, it's a smaller product, and it costs more. I know that this will happen. This will occur naturally over time if there is scarcity or shortages. But this is happening across the board. When it comes to goods, this is what the scarcity thing is. We've read a couple of things. I just want to get onto the fuel crisis real quick. We've read a couple of things about the fuel crisis, two theories from two separate people. The first one is that the first one that I want to mention, I don't know whether this is the most important one, and there's no particular order for this. I forgot to add Jordan back. Hello.
Thank you. I did wonder.
Okay. Right.
I did restart my internet. Hopefully it will be fixed now.
Good.
The hamster been fed.
Okay. So the first one was that basically this crisis occurred because it was timed nicely with this switch over from this E5 petrol to E10. So they were running all their pumps dry because they had to empty the pumps out. I don't know why they had to. They emptied all the pumps out, and this is when it occurred. What was the second one we heard? The petrol crisis.
Wasn't it about the fuel itself going bad?
Yes. The fuel itself losing power or whatever, and they were running the pumps dry and switching over to new fuel. But either way, again, it's just another scam. All of this is a scam. When we get to the point where we can't even afford to buy a week's shopping, it's already too late for us. We cannot get to that point where we just rely on these things. We've got to start topping up these things with our own homemade goods or homegrown goods. And I also want to talk about property.
Well, one second before you do that. Just getting back to the fuel crisis thing, I did make a post on the website. I copied something from Telegram that we found, and that's the thing that you're referencing. So I just posted that as well as the Mises Institute, which is very interesting. Highly recommend.
And yes, foreigners buying up properties is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. How much of our land is owned by foreigners now? Just like our so-called nationalised railways and various other things. Just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Our countries are being asset stripped, essentially. Then again, this has been going on for a long time. It's happened with our steel. It's happened with our manufacturing. Everything is just being destroyed. But they want us to carry on playing the game because taxes and demoralisation. I bet they eat those things for breakfast. They love them. They're tasty. We've got to stop playing their game. There you go. Andrew sums it up.
I just realised what you said. They love them. They're tasty.
Yeah, they live for this stuff. They live for our misery. They love watching us scrabble around for the few crumbs that they throw our way. They love the power over us. These people are evil. They love it. We've got to start denying them that pleasure. We've got to start denying them this power, this authority over us. As Andrew says, just wait until you buy a loaf of bread and it's just 2 slices of crust.
Oh no, that's Joe's idea of hell.
It is. I don't eat the crusts. I share that part with the birds.
But it's the best part.
Selling inland by the pound. Yes, we had someone with that name. I haven't seen him for a while, but yes. Take care evidence. Yeah, we talk about England a lot because we happen to be here, but we know that every country is facing this same asset stripping, this same demoralisation, this same taxation as theft.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in the same boat. We must work together to defeat them. We must work together to survive. Nobody is going to survive by themselves. It just isn't. It's not going to happen. They really do take pleasure from watching us scramble around. They must love the fact that after everything they've done in the last 18 months, nobody has stopped them. So we can go and face off with them publicly, cause a big stink, make sure they know who we are, give them an opportunity to interfere with us because they have all the power at the moment, or at least they think they do. Or we can very quietly, calmly build our communities, get our ducks in a row and start safeguarding ourselves. We don't even have to beat them to win. We just have to be successful. And that's the beauty of it. We just have to turn all of these fantastic ideas that we've discussed for the last almost 2 years. We just have to turn these into reality, one step at a time. Growing food, saving seeds, making clothes and furniture and things that you need, or repurposing stuff. I've mentioned this before and I will keep mentioning it. There are lots and lots of places online where you can get stuff for free if you can go and collect it. Might be an old wardrobe or a coffee table, maybe a bed base. Some things, obviously, you're not going to repurpose. Some things are disgusting and deserve, nothing but the bin. But if you can clean them, fix them up, or use them, even if you do them up and sell them, it's not just the fact that you're repurposing something that's saving you money to maybe sell it. It's the fact that you're not buying that thing. You're not buying it. Every time you buy furniture, that's more taxes. But once someone's paid their taxes on it and it gets sold on and on and on, taxes, taxes, taxes. We've got to stop playing their game. The game is rigged. The house always wins. We need to get that into people's heads. The only way for us to get ahead is to stop playing their game and start creating the rules for our own game. And our game is to thrive and survive. We want our children. I genuinely don't know a single person who wants their children to inherit this mess. But we have had centuries of corruption and greed create this mess. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm thoroughly ashamed that we've allowed it to get to this point. Because we're better than this. And if we just came together, this would end. If we all collectively said no, this would stop right now. And even though they don't need our money, they need our money because they need to keep us in line. They need to hold this threat over us to keep us compliant. We've got to stop playing the game. We've got to stop buying their products and paying their taxes and following their rules, these arbitrary rules. Again, I'm making it clear, we're not talking about having the freedom to go out and harm people. But I don't believe in their laws. I think what their laws are moral guides. I don't kill people because it's against the law. I don't kill people because I think it's an evil, nasty thing to do. I don't need someone to
Speak for
tell me
yourself.
it's. I don't need someone to tell me that killing someone is a bad thing. I know this is. I've known this since I was a child. This is an inherent truth. You don't take things from other people without their consent. End of. Whether it's their rights, their life, their property, doesn't matter. If everyone behaved in that way, I'll tell you what, I've got a thought experiment for the chat. If there were no speed limits on roads, and some roads were motorways and other roads were B roads, and some roads went through villages and some roads went past schools, would you or would you not adjust your driving for the situation, or would you just be speeding through at 80 miles an hour regardless? Because I think people are better than that. They don't need to be told what to do. If you knew children were crossing a road, I believe people would slow down. I believe people would, their common sense would kick in. I don't think we need to be mandated to know right from wrong. I think
not
that's
only do we not need,
inherent. Sorry.
I think not only do we not need it mandated, but we need. If you're constantly telling somebody what is right and what is wrong, they will eventually lose that sense for themselves. If they are basically self-policing, then society on the whole will improve.
But I think
Because
society
suddenly,
would take care of society's problems, like you said, self-policing.
exactly, things will get better. They won't get worse because you'll be more inclined to go out of your way to be a better person.
Because there would be real life consequences. Now, because if you sped through a group of school children and narrowly missed hitting one, those parents would pull you out of the car and ask you what the hell you thought you were doing. I mean, people would take
Exactly.
care of these things. People would use social shaming again and social expectation to police themselves. If you had a pervert in your community,
How
I'm
goes
pretty
that
sure
further?
I'm pretty sure all of the dads would come together and take care of business. That's all I'm going to say. And that pervert would never touch a kid again if they survived it, and they would certainly be kicked out of that community.
I like what Will has said. Their laws are what prevent us from having order and justice.
Oh, yes.
I like that. I like that a hell of a lot.
The law often prevents us from receiving justice. Like, for instance, you can't defend yourself from certain people because the law is very specific in prioritizing their privilege over you. That's the opposite of justice. What happened to the good old days where justice was supposed to be blind, where you were judged on your behavior instead of where you come from or your socio-economic status or your language or your skin color? They keep banging on about equality and equity. They don't mean a word of it. This entire system is designed to just destroy us and feed them in the process. They leech off of us. They just leech off of us. And they are destroying everything we care about in the process. Taking personal responsibility. We've said this for such a long time. If everyone took personal responsibility and if everyone had to face the consequences of bad decisions and bad actions, it would stop pretty damn quick. Kev says you're moving into culture when ours is being attacked. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Kev. If you can clarify, please. But our culture is constantly under attack.
Exactly.
Go on, sorry.
I can understand the sentiment. I disagree. And kind of in the way One Easy Money has said, taking personal responsibility, we changed personal responsibility out for self-improvement. Because it comes back to what I said earlier on, getting to the heart of the problem, getting to the root cause. as individuals, we need to be better. That doesn't just mean like going to the gym and working out and reading books and all that sort of thing. It means wherever possible, which is hopefully always, but probably not always, wherever possible, always being a moral person, which also includes calling others out when they're not. So, for example, if, like me, you subscribe to the idea, not even an idea, it is just a fact that taxation is theft, and you have a tax collector in your family, make it well known. You are basically the cause of all evil in society. And they may not like that.
You're the
It's irrelevant
stormtrooper
whether
for
they
the
like it
state.
or not. Yeah, it's irrelevant whether they like it or not because it is the truth. The truth should come above all. Whether it hurts their feeling or not is irrelevant. Whether you like something or not is irrelevant. The truth is unchanging. It will always be there. It is simply what it is.
Well, the truth doesn't need excuses. All these excuses that people give. Oh, but I have to do this because I need the money. You're making other people miserable in order to get paid. Just think about that.
What sort of person is that? I can understand it if you have never really thought about it. But as soon as it's pointed out to you, if you still go along with it, no, you are a bad person at that stage. You are a bad person. There is no getting around that. It simply is the truth.
Yeah.
And they can like it, they can lump it, it's irrelevant.
Thank you, Kev. I wanted to I wanted to understand what you were saying in case I misconstrued it and didn't actually refer to the comment you wanted to make. Absolutely agree with this. Not just watered down, but demonized at every turn. Right, we've nothing to be proud of. Our ancestors were the lies they've made up about our ancestors are unbelievable. They've made us ashamed, or they've tried to, because the good people still exist that know the truth. They've tried to make us ashamed of where we come from, ashamed of the hard work and sacrifice of our ancestors, ashamed for simply breathing, and they're trying to tell us that we must adopt all these other cultures that are incompatible with ours because somehow we deserve this karma that's coming our way. We, the people who weren't even born when these alleged things even took place. So not only were they not our people, they weren't even people we'd ever met or were related to or knew about. And it happened in a time before we were born. I do not believe that you can subvert responsibility. I do not believe it can be transferred. If you do something to me, you are responsible and no one else. I don't care what your excuse is. Oh, I was tired. I was in a bad mood. It doesn't matter. You are responsible for that behavior, that action, and no one else. You cannot palm that responsibility off to someone else. No one else can apologize for you. It must come from you. You did it. You did the wrong. You must correct that wrong. And I think this the child paying for the sins of the father is utterly immoral.
Mm-hmm.
It's immoral. It's innocent people paying for the crimes of not innocent people, and in some cases, the crimes are made up in the first place, or the crimes are committed by one group of people, and another group of people are accused of committing them. We all know where I'm going with this. That's the end of that. But the reality is, taking personal responsibility isn't just about I did this bad thing and I should own up to it, and I should deal with the consequences of it. Personal responsibility and self-improvement are inextricably linked. If you are engaged in self-improvement, you are not only taking responsibility for your improvement, you are less inclined, less likely to make those poor choices. Mm-hmm. We are responsible for our choices too. We're responsible for our thoughts, for everything we do. That doesn't mean that they should be outlawed or prevented. If I think, well, I don't know, if I think it's not right that that we're letting in thousands of migrants every year, it's every day now, isn't it? And we don't have enough homes. And I think, well, hang on a minute, why don't we just close the borders until everyone is housed? That's a really controversial opinion. It shouldn't be. That's common sense. There are more people than houses, no more people. Close the borders, get everyone housed, then we can look at it again. And of course, my answer to that is never. But,
My answer to that is let's get bigger, let's start invading, but that's beside the point.
Jordan wants to conquer the world.
Me and my little bee, we'll go out there with that.
But, it doesn't matter what you're told you are. You define yourself. If you are a part of a distinct ethnic group, you should be proud. You should be able to be publicly proud of that group's achievements. It's interesting that the groups that are allowed to be proud of their ancestors' achievements have also done a lot of really, really bad things, but they're never mentioned. It seems like certain groups are held to account to stringent standards that no one else is held to. We do have stringent standards for ourselves. We are the standards. We can create a niche in society that is truly good.
I was just about to say, when it comes to our standards, in my opinion, our standards are higher than anybody else's. And that's exactly where they should be. That we should be so good that no one else can really keep up.
We are that good.
We are. I
it's
think
pretty clear for all to see. The reason why everyone hates us is because they're envious. Because when we had the choice to do certain things, we chose not to do bad things. We did it because that's intrinsic to our nature. We didn't have to be told not to do those things. Whereas other cultures do those things, not because they have to or they're forced to, but because they have the freedom to do them. Cultures are different. You could argue that no one culture is better than another. That's your choice. For me personally, I think some cultures are far superior. And you know what? That's okay. And I'm sick of people from other cultures coming into the country, which is the birthplace of my culture, and telling me that my culture needs to change to adapt them. No, it doesn't. If the country you're in doesn't suit your culture, your race, your traditions, you're probably in the wrong place. So you can either adapt to the host culture or you need to leave. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't dream of going to someone else's country and saying, well, it's a bit too foreign for me. Can't you do some more English stuff?
This curry's a bit spicy.
They'd tell me to do one. And they'd be right. How dare I disrespect their culture? I don't have to be there. I'm there with their permission. I'm there as a guest. How dare I demand they change for me? I just wish everyone thought that way. Go on, sorry.
Thank you. They hate us because they ain't us.
Yes. It's true. I'm sorry, it's true. Look, English exceptionalism, I don't care if we're accused of it. I'd hold your hands up and say, yeah, you know what? You're right. I do feel that we are an exceptional people. We are a distinct ethnic group. We have been on this land for centuries. We have made it everything it is. Everything that people come here to enjoy and to share. Except what they want is they want everything we've created without us in the way. We have a right to exist. We have a right to live. We have a right to be safe, to be happy, to be comfortable. It's about time we started saying no to these agenda and yes to other people who feel the same way. This isn't just about race or ethnicity, though. This is about standards. I don't want to be surrounded by a group of English people who don't think standards should exist, who don't think standards are important, because then what am I trading that old society for if the new one is exactly the same? I think we have been led up the garden path, and I'm talking about all European societies now. We have been convinced we're worthless, so many of us behave like we are. We're doing ourselves a disservice. We are better than this. We can be.
This is why getting to the root of problems is so important, and why I've taken an extra strong focus on this, and Andrew has as well, and Joe has as well, to the same extent, because we've been doing a lot of reading and thinking about this. But
it's okay to say, my country is great, my people are great, and I'm great, and then hold yourself up to a higher standard. If everyone did this, there would be no crime.
But in order to do that, you have to get to the root of problems.
Yes.
You have to get to them, and you have to be honest about them, not just ignore them because it's convenient. So it'd be very convenient to say, oh, we need a nice, strong government to go and man the borders and this, that, and the other, and make things right, and deal with those nasty landlords and this, that, and the other. because it does. But it wouldn't build a healthy society. It would still build a corrupt society, a broken society, but it would build one that is broken that favours us. And while that may sound nice, we've seen from past experience, very, very, very quickly it turns against us. If you leave corruption there, it will eventually worm its way back into society and start to be used against you.
And that comes back to personal responsibility, because big
Exactly.
government is
If we
so
need,
far removed from its people, no one's holding their feet to the fire when they screw up, and they do all the time, like leaving your data in a laptop in the back of a taxi. These people are just absurdly bad at what they do, but they don't live within their constituency. They don't live in the village of people they represent. Nobody
but they shouldn't represent anyone. They shouldn't exist.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If it worked on that level, at least you could hold them to account. I don't agree with any government. If it worked on that level, at least you could hold them to account. You could go and bang on their door and say, "What the hell was that legislation about? What are you doing?" And they'd have to face the people that they are messing with. But they're so far removed from the people that they are elected to represent, if indeed you believe that ballots actually get counted, that they can pretty much get away with anything they want. This comes back to this idea that we are very short-memoried. Looking at things in isolation, we forget all the things they've done in the past. We cannot keep going on like this. If people still think there is a political solution, I feel terribly sorry for you and I wish you well. You're never ever going to get what you want. If we thought MPs could fix all of our problems, they would have done so already. They don't fix these problems. They uphold the system that creates them. They are paid by the system. All these MPs that vote for more migration, who's paying their wages? We are. They don't care. The sooner everyone understands your government not only doesn't care about you, but it hates you, and you are nothing but an ant to it. It doesn't care about your individual lives, doesn't care about your safety or your welfare, doesn't care about your children. The sooner people come to that conclusion, based on all the evidence you can see throughout your entire life, the sooner we can start focusing on who does care about you. And it's going to come back to the same thing. Your tribe, your clan, whatever you want to call it, that is your people, your family, your community. They care. Because if you are doing well, so are they. That's reciprocity. We've got to start thinking local. We've genuinely got to stop expecting solutions from these people. When we say our government, this is not our government, it's their government. Remember that. Every government in the world is their government. Their people put in place to put the boot on our neck. We've got to stop playing along with this. We've got to stop accepting that this is our future. You don't have to openly challenge these people. There are safe ways to do this where there is zero risk. Start growing food, start talking to your neighbours, start meeting up with local groups, get involved with local groups. If you're involved with more than one group, bring them together. Network. Do everything you can. Doesn't matter if the group's online or offline. Start bringing people together that share the same views. And you will find that these groups will grow. If everyone shared every group they're in with one other group, within 24 hours, every group would grow, whether it's by one person or 1,000. All of these groups that are demanding change, that are just like us, that want things to change, that know what the solution is, every single group out there is working alone. We've always had the power to stop this. That's why they lie to us. That's why they brainwash us, propagandize us. That's why they enslave our children into education centres. We've always had the power to stop this. But if
my
there's only
kettle has
50 of
finally
us,
finished stop boiling, so I can now finally read a comment I wanted to read a little while ago. From
so
Boudica,
if
she said
let
the
me just
only
let me just
solution the
never
only
mind.
solution to our problem is us. Carry on.
We're also the problem. We are both the problem and the solution. If only 50 of us are going to stand up in one town, and only 25 of us are going to stand up in another town, and only 10 of us are going to stand up in another town, they're just going to laugh at us and ignore us. We can't keep doing this. We're going around in circles. Everything we do is good. Everything we think of is good. We've had some great solutions. I mean, we watch a lot of streams about community building, but just on this stream, just you guys, really great solutions and suggestions. But if we do not put these into practice now, we're running out of time. There is no way on earth that we can opt out of this system indefinitely. They're going to tighten the noose and lock us in. How long do we think we have realistically to get out? How long does anyone realistically think we have to start growing food before food is rationed or you're prevented from accessing it completely? We need to create networks. We need to work together. We need to turn thoughts and words into action. And we need to act now. We need this sense of urgency. We've been talking for this for almost 2 years. And on a grand scale, in the big world out there, nothing has changed. Nothing. Because everyone's talking and no one's putting these things into action. So we need to come up with a way to start moving away from this system. If anyone wants to jump on our Discord or on our Telegram, and if anyone has any suggestions, maybe something someone else is doing, if you know of another group that whose standards and principles align with ours, put them in touch with us. We'll happily have them on the show. Or we'll have a chat with them on Discord or Telegram. We've got to start linking up. There must be millions of people out there who think just like you do, who are sick and tired of being taken for a ride. There must be.
It must
And
be the
worldwide,
majority of people at
billions.
this stage.
Yeah. But all these people are isolated from each other. If we all work together, imagine what we could achieve. There's no point all these little individual groups that don't know the others exist. That's what they want. That's why they've destroyed our communities. In an ideal world, instead of sitting online, we'd all be doing this in our local village hall. But those things have been taken from us. They've all been turned into, name that centre. They're not there for us anymore. We live on streets with strangers. We don't stay where we were born anymore. We don't stay with our families. Our childhood friends are in different countries to us. This has all been by design. So are we going to just go along with it? Are we going to say, well, we tried, but not really? Or are we going to be able to look our children in the face and say, we did everything we could? We've got to put these ideas into practice. And we've got to do as much as we can. And even small things are going to make a difference. The more often you have these small little rebellions, the more often you will rebel, generally. And these small ones will become larger, and people will be inspired by other rebels. People need to start standing up and working with other people. If anyone knows of any other organisation that thinks along these lines, drop their name in our Telegram, please. And we'll go and have a look at them. We can't carry on hoping this will blow over. It won't. And we can't sit here thinking that we have all the time in the world to resolve it. We don't. I don't want my children to grow up enslaved. I don't want my children's future or their children's future to be one of misery, anxiety, and stress, where they are basically stolen from every day, where they are enslaved every day, where they are, God knows what's coming in the future, tortured, drugged. Who knows? Who knows what they've got planned? There are so many theories floating around. What we know, though, is this. These people are not benevolent. They're not here to help us. And the longer we play along, the more powerful they become, because they are converting people. They are brainwashing people. They are amassing more wealth.
Well,
They are
getting onto
buying
the
up all the
brainwashing
properties.
thing, we know that they're utilising things like the bits team.
Oh, yes.
That is, in no uncertain terms, that is mind control. It sounds a little bit kooky, and I'll concede that point, but we know they're doing it. They are deliberately going out of their way to manipulate the minds of the population. It's mind control. They're literally trying to do it, and they're doing it openly. We
Yeah.
have done streams on this in the past. If anybody hasn't seen them, please do go and watch them and share them with people, because they are, tooting our own horn a little bit, but they are really bloody interesting streams.
They are. They are,
Really,
because
I'd highly
the bits
recommend them.
team, and the bits team is government funded. And if anyone thinks the government isn't behind all this, then think again. They know exactly what's going on. And the boot of tyranny will come down even harder. You've got that stupid stinky rebellion, and what's that other group?
Oh, Insulate Britain.
Insulate Britain. Now, we think Insulate Britain is a psyop to openly object to the government or hold the government to account. So the government can say, oh, well, these people are a real pain. They're holding up traffic. What can we do about them? I know. We'll bring in some law to stop people protesting. It will start with that group, and it will end up with all of us. If you wish censorship and tyranny on another group, believe me, it will come for you as well. And that's the saddest thing of all. All of the people that are fed up with these groups, and they are annoying, I won't lie, are kind of saying, well, yeah, the government should ban them because they're doing this, they're stopping ambulances getting through. It's very easy to convince people to work against their own interests, because all you have to do is provide a public enemy to be hated. How many people in the past have thought that, I don't know, let me think of something. The death sentence for child abuse was a good idea. I did. And then it started to occur to me, the government can just accuse anyone of child abuse. And now we've already consented to the death sentence. What good is a posthumous pardon after they've killed you? Planted your DNA at a crime scene. They can't be trusted, and neither can any of their institutions.
I've just
We
posted
have to start. Oh, go on, sorry.
So I was just going to say, I've just posted the link to the First Bits team thing.
Yeah,
Stream.
please do
That's the word
watch
I was
that.
looking for.
Please do watch that. It really breaks down how we are manipulated. And not just how they manipulate us, but what they think of us, how they refer to us.
Yeah, the language that they used about us was quite stark and quite remarkable. It once again, it comes down to the fact that they're so open about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't even pretend that we're on an equal footing to them. We are like some distinct species. They don't really understand, but they know how to manipulate. Mm-hmm. We're not them. They're not us. They never will be. It's like a club. And once people join that club, the corruption is just rife. Oh, Miss Danger says, so just waiting for that to load. Interestingly, most far-right convictions seem to have online child porn added to the charges. I don't know about specific groups, but I don't trust the system. The fact that the system can lie and does lie is proof enough of their ability to do it, means that they can whenever they want to. So, whether someone is guilty of something or not, again, we trust all these systems, these experts who proclaim things that we just cannot verify or challenge ourselves. It really is important that we start networking, that we start working with people who fit in with our standards. I don't care about a nation that looks the same if the standards aren't there. I want to live in safety. I want to live with safe, good, decent people. I'm not trading safety off for a culturally cohesive nation. It's imperative on us now to find good people and work with those good people with principles and standards, people who are going to uphold the things we believe are important. And we can find those people. They must exist. We know that they do. So bringing those communities together is key. Getting people to work towards the same goals is key. And this brings us back to our original point about the stands. I think people had the same goals when it came to the stands, like, railing against the tyranny. But once that's taken care of, even if that was successful, once that's taken care of, then what? They stop one thing. Well, I don't mean safety as in cotton wool, you know what I mean? I mean, we can mitigate the risks, the external risks that have been forced upon us. I want to be in control of the risks I take, not take the risk of other people causing me harm. Or at least I want the freedom to be able to defend myself. I don't even have the right to have a weapon to defend myself. I have to call the police.
Because we're slaves. Slaves don't have the right to defend themselves.
Exactly. Someone broke into my home. I don't have any weapons. I can't have a weapon. Can't even have a potato peeler. In case I poke someone's eye out with it, I suppose, or, scratch someone. I just want the freedom to make the choices I want for my life. And I think everyone should have that freedom.
I will go back to what we said on the About page.
I got you, Xanth. Yeah, enforced safety. I understand. Sorry, Jordan.
I did wonder what the R was. I thought I'd been joined by Yoda for a second.
No, that'd be a pirate.
No, that'd be not. Yeah.
Yeah. My stepdad's not mean. Just real quick. Yes, you're correct. I still have those weapons. Yes, they. I don't leave home without them.
Are they still like little miniature bricks?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what the hell was in them. I've never eaten one since. But
I don't blame you. Honestly, if you can freeze bread to that extent, no, don't eat it. It's actually frightening what they put in it. It's finding what they put in it in order to make them do that.
Exactly. Again, this should be a fundamental part of any society. That if someone wishes you harm, you should have the right to defend yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to defend yourself.
We all have the right to live unmolested by people who seek to coerce or infringe upon our rights.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, it doesn't get any easier. That is the most basic right of all. It's something that we have simply by virtue of the fact that we are sentient beings and we exist.
But we're living in a system where our rights don't count.
Exactly. Anything that tries to infringe upon that tries to force us what to do, that coerces us, that takes money, that does anything along those lines, immoral. And it should be called out for being exactly that. It is immoral and it should not exist. Which is why ultimately there is no political solution. Forget the corruption, forget any of that aspect of it, even though I fully agree with all of it. Even if they weren't problems, even if you could install a perfect government and it would work wonderfully, the nature of the government itself is an immoral thing. And eventually that will come back to bite you. May not come back to bite your children, may not come back to bite your children's children, but eventually, somewhere down the line, it will come back to bite your people, eventually.
The reality is we are never, ever going to be safe and happy and productive while this current system exists. It's as simple as that. Anyway, you were going to bring up something from the website, did you say?
Yeah, or no, I did.
That up? Where? Oh, you
put
it in the chat.
I said it.
I thought you were going to put it on the
screen. It's not only that, but I said it. I said the thing that
quote.
I wanted to say, the right to live unmolested by people who seek to coerce or infringe upon our rights. That's what we have.
So what we're really talking about here, I'm going to quickly allude to this because we're about to wrap up, and we will do a full stream on it. What we're talking about here is anarchy But anarchy is not what people have been led to believe it is. Anarchy is the destruction, removal, or erasure of big systems of control. That's not a direct definition, by the way. Don't bother looking that up. It doesn't say that at all.
I did wonder.
But that is essentially what it means. It means personal control, I suppose. How would you define anarchy?
No masters, no slaves.
Fair enough.
That is the simple definition. The people think of it as chaos. It isn't chaos. It is an absence of rulers. But when you extrapolate that a little bit further, it is not just the absence of rulers. It is no masters, no slaves.
So I was kind of right.
As Andrew's gone on to say, and this is the correct definition of it via the words themselves, it means without rulers. Not without rules, without rulers. Vastly different things.
Well, this is the point, because when we talk about these communities, we talk about rules that we all agree.
You have social rules.
Of course.
Exactly. You have social rules. You have things you can do and things you can't do. And the things you can't do, they're not things you can't do because if you do them, big bad government is going to come along and slap you back of the head and throw you in the back of a car and put you in a cage. No, you have these rules because they're just not how you behave. They're not what you do. The society around you says, don't do that, lad. And if you do it, they don't like it, you're out. And then what? Then you're out in the world by yourself. And while at the moment that doesn't sound terribly threatening,
it won't be that case.
If you're in a society, exactly, if you're in a society where every community is very tight-knit, suddenly wanderers like that become very strange people. They become very threatening. Like, why is this person not attached to a community?
And you'll be deemed as an outsider, and communities will communicate with each other, and suddenly there will not be a community that will touch you.
Well, forget that, but realistically, communities in the past have looked at somebody like that with the assumption that they were a murderer, a rapist, a child molester, or something along those lines, something you really, really don't want in your society. That's why they were always given a hard time.
And it's
not because they were strange and different. It's not because they were poor. It was purely because they're not a part of a society. They're not a part of a community. They've been thrown out of a community. They're a bad person. Don't want a bad person.
They didn't meet the standard.
Exactly.
They didn't meet the standards of a community. And this comes back to, again, this broken, corrupt, dirty society that we've had inflicted on us. Those kind of people that we would definitely kick from our communities, they're celebrated. They're celebrated. The more perversion, the better. It's absolutely disgusting that, and for us to hold the standards that we do, we are demonized. We're called bigots for not accepting degenerate people, for not wanting them in our communities, in our society, in our country. They call us bigots for that. Instead of normal, which is what they should be calling us. There's another normal person who thinks that rapists and perverts should be taken care of, and not in a good way. They call us bigots. Why are you so closed-minded? It's ridiculous. It's a complete inversion. Everything that is good and pure and wholesome, everything we used to have in our countries and communities has been turned on its head. So now good is bad and bad is good, and you're a bigot. That part never changes. You're a bigot because you don't understand. You don't befriend these people, so you don't understand them. I don't want to befriend them. They're disgusting. I don't want them in my society. I don't want them in my community. I don't want them around my children. You don't even have the right to decide that. You don't even have the right to decide that. Think about it. You can't even choose not to have perverts around your children. That is not a free society. That is an enslaved society, following orders. If we're going to live to standards, let's be the ones to set those standards. Oh, here we go.
Talking the standards. Now, no prizes for guessing what this is, because honestly, I think it's so obviously an oak leaf. I don't really understand how anyone could ever possibly disagree with this. But Joe did. And then, for some reason, I was pestered into making a second attempt.
Nobody told you to make a second attempt.
Whatever, you mocked it and I didn't approve of it. It
I
eventually
said the
came
stalk
out
of the
like
oak
this.
leaf looked like a tree trunk. Christmas decoration, see? Look! We can't all be wrong, Jordan.
Well, technically, Christmas decoration, an oak leaf, that is kind of correct. This here was my second attempt at it, and as you can tell, it was nowhere near as good as the previous. The previous one kind of looked like what it needed to look like. This one, not at all. I don't know what this looks like a splat on a windscreen.
It looks like a tree. I'm sorry. I said we can't all be wrong.
Oh, it's the best one here. It's wood. It's made out of wood. That's good enough. The reason I bring this up is because there may be
Ragnar.
There may be a novel father.
Green Dragon, we have suggested this. Everyone suggested this.
It eventually came out okay. Look.
It's still, you've not done the stalk properly. I'm just saying it's too thick.
I'm not saying it's the world's greatest attempt.
But it still got pointy bits.
What do you mean? Because it's an oak leaf. Oak leaves are naturally pointy.
No, they're not.
Shut up. Anyway, let me speak. God damn it.
Okay.
We may be doing a whittling stream this week.
So do we have any whittlers in the house? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. You know what? I'm going to give Jordan some credit here. Okay. He really enjoys whittling, and I tell you something. On a serious note, I could not do this. So fair play to you.
Well, we've been showing off our creative. I was going to say juices, and then I thought, no, the bad term. But we've been showing off our creative efforts recently. Boudica's made some fantastic stuff. Philomena is finishing up on one of her. I still don't remember what the hell they're called. I remember the previous one was called Zoot or something along those lines. It was a weird name. I don't remember what it was, love. I'm sorry. Andrew's done fantastically on his belt. So I want to see if I have another picture of that to remind people of the absolutely fantastic work he's able to do. Joe, cover for me while I find the picture.
Will says, "Whittle me this, Batman," by the Whittler. Oh, and Philomena says it's called a tompion.
Oh, that was it, Tompion. I remember. Yeah, this was Andrew's belt. That is a damn fine thing.
I'll tell you something. Had Andrew not taken credit for this, I would have thought he bought it.
Genuinely, it looks
like it was machine made.
It looks like something you would buy. It looks great. And he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm not sure if it's good enough yet. Oh, I haven't made that many things yet." Rubbish. This is great.
No pressure, Andrew, but
no pressure. But all I know is Christmas is coming up. Next, keep saying, "Oh, we can't buy things out their belt department."
Yes, break them. But seriously, this looks like something you would buy as a gift. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, agreed.
That is quality.
This is fantastic work. So yeah, the long and the short of this is go start creating stuff. Now you can do things like belts. You do wonderful little leaves like this. I still don't really know what I'm going to do with this. I've got another piece of wood of the same size, and I do have a plan, and I might be doing that next week. I'm not sure which day yet, but I might do. That'd be interesting. Basically, pay attention to notifications.
Yes,
because there may be a surprise stream coming up.
I'd like to see some more people in the audience put forward things they've made. All
Yes.
that joking aside, right? I give Jordan a lot of grief because he can take it. He's got a massive ego. Honestly, I'm not being mean. I promise. If anyone wants to submit any efforts to the stream, even if
Sorry.
I can't post that one up, Will, but that's hilarious. If anyone wants to submit any efforts to the stream, the credit is for making the effort. Nobody is going to be brilliant at something they try the first time, or you may get lucky. You may find something you have a natural talent for. But we'd love to showcase this. Jordan's broken. I feel some Muttley stickers coming on.
I can't do the Muttley laugh. My throat too much.
And Ian says, I need a new leather for my old belt buckle. Can Andrew do them? Andrew, there you go. I think the quality is just there to see. That is amazing quality. Andrew doesn't make belts, just to be clear. He doesn't own a belt shop. He doesn't own any kind of leather factory. This is purely something he tried, and the quality is there to see.
He's nailed it.
That's so good.
In the immortal words of David Lloyd, he murdered it.
So hopefully, with time and a bit more practice, and we're really hoping that Andrew will enjoy this to such a degree that he will do this full time.
The factory, aka cow.
Also known as a cow. Yeah.
Okay, well, we need a petition. We need a petition. Pigs should become bacon factories. Just saying.
Well, the factory is inside the pig. It's going to be a bit stinky.
The pig is in factory.
But yes, that's quality work, and this is what we want to promote. If you are good at something or just interested in something, we want to boost you up. We want to support you. We want people to be able to provide goods or services, because when everything goes down, this will be currency. It doesn't matter if it's something simple or something intricate. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out and you think it's a bit naff, but you're going to stick with it. If you enjoy it, then it's worthwhile pursuing. God.
Before we get off this specific subject, I do have a post coming up on the website, and that will definitely be done by next week. Maybe done over the weekend, not entirely sure, but it will definitely be done soon.
Good.
And it is... what's the word I'm looking for here? It is in keeping with the theme of learning. There you are. So learning skills and all that sort of thing. Just keep an eye out. Keep an eye on the website. The stuff is on the website. Stuff is being added to the website every day.
Yes. With regards to the website, Earthring can make instruments. Very good.
What?
We've always said it takes everything to build a society. Yes, please tell us.
This is going to be one of those. I can make instruments. What is it? It's going to be like pots and pans turned upside down.
I'm so pleased to hear that, Green Dragon. With regard to the website, again, if anyone has ever made anything and they'd like to create an overview, which is just basically a very basic guide, I think it would really inspire people. I want people to see what a fantastic community we have. And at the moment, people can't, because all of your comments and all of your information that you share and all of the fantastic skills you have pretty much in the chat section of this stream. And we can't translate that onto the website. In order to grow as a community, we need to show other people what this community is made of, the kind of people it's made of. We can't blow your trumpet either if there is nothing for us to show people. So if you have anything you can submit for the website, we would happily showcase it. We want people to know what a great bunch of people this community consists of. How can we possibly share that with them? The words won't count. Oh, these are great people. Yeah. That's the end of that conversation. Or, these are great people. Look what so-and-so made. We want to blow people's minds with the skills that we have in this community, with the fantastic people and the things that they are doing. We need to show people what you're doing. We can praise you all day and all night. It doesn't matter, other people won't see it. So please submit photographs or videos or whatever you've got, or an overview if that's all you can do right now. And we will get it up on the website. You'll get full credit for it. And we'll certainly make a big deal of it on the next stream. To answer your question, sorry, just want to quickly do this because you did ask a question. I've made a lyre, an octave mandolin out of a biscuit tin. I don't know what that. I know what a mandolin is. I don't know what an octave one is. I don't know what the difference is.
Surely they're the same thing. I don't know. I don't. I'm very non-musical.
Ooh.
All my talent went into drawing, specifically leaves.
And Green Dragon is going to make us all feel like we need to try a bit harder.
Awesome.
And drying the herbs from the garden for winter teas. Well done, you. Well done, you. A lyre is like a small harp.
That's really, really good.
Yes, I think it is. It's a bigger mandolin in the same tone range as a guitar. We'd love to see pictures of that, please, if you have some.
I thought lyre,
especially if you've got pictures of guitar. Like stages. Yeah, that's basically what Will said. It's the old. It's like the teardrop shape, isn't it? I think the really kind of fat bottom. But yeah, send us in some pictures, please. We would love to showcase your work. And this applies to everyone. You know, do not be put off by this idea of competition. This isn't about competition. We need everyone to be producing something because it's going to be the currency of the future. We need to know that you're okay, that you're going to be okay. So please feel inspired. Please try something. That you'll probably try 20 things before you find one that you really enjoy. That would be fantastic, Ian. So there is a video and audio of me and my nephew somewhere for a British culture and English language course for Japanese students. How we made bagpipes. My nephew may have a copy. That would be fantastic if you can get that. Yeah, a list of decorating jobs for the weekend. Are you good at decorating, Arius? You said you couldn't even make a bed. If you've got decorating skills, show off your work. Fat bottom girls, they make the rocking world go round. Okay. My last YouTube video is me playing it. It's got a slight buzz, but I'm not very good, both of which have improved since. Fantastic. This is it. We've always been about skills, sharing skills, learning skills. Doesn't matter if you're not good at something. Doesn't matter if it takes a while to get there. The fact that you are willing to learn and try something to see if that can become something important is all we ask. And this doesn't benefit us in any way. This is about you. We want to know that everyone in our community is going to be okay in the future. Think about the things that are going to replace the existing currency. Because cash isn't going to work forever. Digital currencies are definitely going to be bad for us because it's all about track and trace. It's all about surveillance and keeping an eye on where you are and what you're buying. In fact, what was that thing? I really want to mention that real quick before we go. That letter from the bank on the telegram.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Oh, yes. One minute. I'll go find it. This is really, really excessively over the line. It's from Reboot Needed. 1 minute, I'll go find it.
So last week, Reboot told us that he'd received a message from his bank about his spending habits. He posted up a screenshot for us on our Telegram, for which we thanked him, and we asked his permission to share it on the screen, which he gave us. So, do you want to just grab that now, real quick?
Thank you for remembering that.
It literally just popped into my head. I knew there was something we'd said that we wanted to showcase tonight.
I'm glad it did. 1 sec. Got it.
So when we talk about digital currency, the surveillance knows no bounds, and we were truly astounded by what we're about to share with you. This is such an infringement on privacy. We were literally gobsmacked. And when you think about all the surveillance that's in place, again, bucking the system draws attention to yourself. But these tiny changes, for the attention that this got, is truly remarkable. Okay, Jordan, would you like to read this out, please?
Indeed, we are required by law to monitor transactions, and this helps us understand the nature of our customers' activity. They say that as if it is in any way, shape, or form true. But anyway, as well as being a legal requirement, these works will help to make sure it's safe and secure. We've tried to contact you, but according to our records, not received a response. So naturally, they then letter. Please reply to this secure message or email us.
Right, get
The reasons.
Oh, you've skipped the meat of it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I skipped that because I thought it was further down. My bad. We have noticed that your ATM activity for this month is more frequent and higher in value than previous months. We understand that account activities can fluctuate. However, we ask that you kindly confirm the reason for this.
So just to clarify for anyone, so he has started using digital payments less and started drawing out cash. And his bank have immediately jumped on it, and they're demanding that he tell them why. Why is he using cash? That's ridiculous. It goes on to say, I can see this bit. You all right for me to read? Yeah, Jordan's flicking in and out. It goes on to say, please reply to this secure message or email us at blah, 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 briefly explaining the reason for this, the nature of your cash spending, and whether you foresee your account activity continuing at this level. This will help us to understand what activity we should expect on your account. This is truly amazing. Explain the reason and the nature of your cash spending. They're literally asking him to confirm what he is spending his cash on. This is massive overreach. Massive overreach. And all he has done is slightly changed his spending habits. Because digital currency, for those who don't believe it, is about surveillance, and this proves it. Otherwise, they just wouldn't care. And they keep using these excuses, like, oh, we're just trying to safeguard you and, make sure that, you're not in any trouble, and we want to make sure you're safe, and we want to make sure your money is safe. Of course you don't. Of course you don't.
I like it your stress levels rise when you start to impersonate them more.
This is the good news. Reboot told them his spending is none of their concern and he closed his account. Good for you. Can we have a 1 in the chat for Reboot needed, please? Because that is scary in itself. Moving away from these systems is a little bit nerve-wracking. Are you back? Yay!
Allegedly.
It's a bit nerve-wracking making these changes. These are massive changes. This is a lifetime of brainwashing that we're trying to break down. So well done, Reboot. Genuinely, respect. I have a lot of respect for you doing that. So good. So good. This is what we're talking about. Small steps. Pushing back when you can and when it's safe to do so. Right, we want to quickly have a look at these pictures. I don't know what to say. That's amazing. So just for clarification, on the left is the one that was built by Earthrin. The one on the right is a model of the Sutton Hoo site Anglo-Saxon lyre. The one that you built is truly amazing. This is definitely something to be proud of.
It really is awesome. And here it is in an early stage, I'd say. There it is.
That's amazing. That's genuinely proud of that. Honestly, you should be so proud of that. We're very proud of you.
That's awesome.
Made with your own fair hands. How much, Earthrin, if are you still here? How much would one of these set you back if you bought it, compared to what the cost of the materials was? Well, no, don't tell us the cost of the materials, because you might want to sell them. Oh, he's done it anyway. It's made of scrap wood. It's made of scrap wood. That's amazing. So how much would that have cost to buy? Oh, and Jordan's posted in the link for the video, if anyone is interested.
I was just going to say, while we wait for an answer, I've just posted the link so you can go and hear it.
£200 at least.
Damn.
This is the point. Saving, you're not just saving money if you're making things to sell. You're saving money by simply making them.
Mm-hmm.
And you are honing these skills. If you can work with wood on any level, you can make anything that uses that for a material. Same with metal, the same with anything. That's amazing. Yeah, you definitely should be sharing this around more. I can't believe you kept this to yourself. That's truly amazing.
That's awesome. See, this is why we need to do more Whitling streams. Once again, we need the joy of sharing each other's work. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. But please don't keep stuff like this to yourself. We're so proud of you. That's truly amazing.
Agreed.
You should be shouting that from the rooftops. Again, it's not about the quality of the finished product. It's the fact that you've done something you enjoy. It looks amazing. It's just well done, honestly. I feel so very proud. I feel the same when anyone shares any work. Like Andrew's belt that we saw earlier. When Boudica made her dishcloths and gloves and scarves, and when Philomena makes her, I can't think of the name of it. Philomena, can't you make something we can say? Can you make something that we can just reference real quick? Like,
so
dress.
It began with a T. It began with a T. I can't remember the name of it.
I'm so sorry, Philomena.
I remember what it looks like. Is right. Yeah, that's good enough. Toys. I approve. Toys.
But this is amazing. Now this is all done by hand, as you can see.
This is apparently a miniature format. I thought she was just a very tiny woman, but no, this is apparently a miniature thing. So it's not as big as it could be, but the teak and how it looks, how it functions, is dead on. It's awesome.
Exactly. She did a tiny version because this was the first time she tried to emulate the stitching, and it looks amazing. It really looks amazing. Philomena's saying just go with soft toys. Okay. I'm so sorry, love. I bigged you up so much there and then I blew it at the end. I'm so sorry. That's amazing. Will says, imagine if classical musicians destroyed their instruments after the show. That's a bit of a facetious comment, but imagine if they did. What a waste. What an absolute waste.
The destroy their plates.
Well, that's true.
If I remember rightly as well, Greek theatre, they only used to enact their play once, and then that was it. So I suppose technically they kind of did.
Yes.
There wasn't so much.
Yes, because there was nothing left afterwards, was there? There's one show, everyone, no encores. Yeah, we're truly proud of all of you. Again, it's oh god, I don't want to sound like a woke parent. It's not about winning; it's about taking part. The
Ooh,
reality is,
no,
I
no,
know
I don't like that. No, it's
the
about
re-
results, right?
the
Become an expert.
the reality is to
Like
start
what we did.
out. To start out, it is about taking part. It's about doing something that you know could be a benefit to your community in the future.
Mhm.
Obviously, we want to get good at things. We want to produce quality items, but we've got to start somewhere.
Definitely.
And we truly want everyone to be taken care of. If we know that you can produce something that will work as essentially as something you can trade or barter in the future, we know that you're okay. And that's all we've ever wanted for this community. To share the information we have to inspire you so that you will be safe and well in the future. Because good people need to survive this, or it's all for nothing anyway. We need good people with good standards, people who care about the most important things in life: family, children, safe communities, healthy. I don't know if healthy is the right word, but getting back to socializing and bringing people together. This is what we need. These are the kind of people we need. These are the kind of people you are. I've just missed something. Here we go. English Will, thank you very much for this. Can we remind everyone that at 9 o'clock tomorrow on D Live, Cockney Nut Job has a disco party. So brush off those roller skates and those big wigs. It's time for some disco. Okay, I think we're about done. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to share?
Will
We're
had an
out of time
extremely
for
important
tonight.
message.
We're out of time for tonight, but we will happily showcase it on the next stream. So, yep, if you haven't
Did
already
you hear
joined it,
me?
you stopped. You go on.
I said Will had an extremely important message.
What was that?
It was a compliment. He said he very much liked the background.
Oh, right. I do apologise. I thought it was about a photograph.
No!
I'm so sorry.
But technically it's a photograph.
Ah, he said the graphic.
Then you
That's
rob me
that's
of
right.
my hard work.
Jordan's extremely proud of this, and so am I.
I like the bee and the bee hat. I'm sorry, I'm a simple boy.
Oh my god, that bee hat. Right, let's ask the chat the last question before we go for the evening. Does that bee look like it's wearing a Viking hat, or does it look like it's wearing a bobble hat? Not a bobble hat. What am I thinking of?
A
Like
woolly hat.
a woolly hat. So is the bee wearing a Viking hat with horns, or a woolly hat? Let's ask the chat. 1 for Viking hat, 2 for woolly hat. Go go go.
I think it is objectively a woolly hat.
No, it's a Viking hat.
Subjectively a woolly hat. Look at it.
How is it?
It's his little antennas.
But they look
Look,
like horns.
They are not. They are little antennas.
It is amazing. So you've obviously guessed at this point that the bee is going to be a running theme.
Yes,
It's
100%.
been
The
in
bee
every single one of our
remains.
backgrounds. It's a tea cozy reboot. You have to be different, don't you? There you go.
A
Two but with
BBD.
antlers, says Andrew. Johnny Redpill Seed probably has the best comment. Is that a bee? Anyway, thank you as always. Oh, pity helmet, says Will. A pith helmet. Oh, I thought the pity helmet was better, honestly. Thank you as always, everyone, for joining us. We hope the stream has inspired you to do something to get out there and turn some of these ideas into reality. We hope that you have had a very good evening. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and it's a good start to your weekend. We will be back next Friday. Everyone be safe. If you haven't already, join us on the Discord or the Telegram and watch this space. We have renewed vigor. We are going to really put everything we have into this now. And all we ask is that you do the same. Give it your best. Let's work together. Let's make something amazing. Let's show these people we will not be beaten. We deserve everything we're about to get. Let's do this. We can.
And with that, we will see you next week.
We will. Take care all. Bye for now.